Hey, welcome to the Razzle Dazzle Show, a podcast where we talk about our favorite video games and all things pop culture with an emphasis on our favorites. I'm your host, Jared, and our guest today is Josh Chambers. Josh is a 2D studio animator turned game developer. Over the past few years, he has worked on TV shows and movies for Adult Swim, Netflix, HBO, and more. Now, Josh is a co-developer of a Metroidvania game called Layers Deep, a hauntingly cozy action-adventure game where you play as an onion lost in a southern-gothic subterranean civilization. Josh was recommended to be on the show by previous guest Chris Stair. Please let us know what you think about this episode somewhere on the internet. Be sure to follow us on our socials and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Links to them are down below. And with all that being said,
it's Razzle Dazzle time.
Hello there, Josh. Thank you so much for coming on the show. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing?
If I was doing any better, I'd have to hire somebody to help me enjoy it. Thank you for asking.
Well, that is an answer.
That is an answer. Yes, you are right. A quick Kickstarter question I have for you. What do ogres and onions have in common? It's the question.
I think it's that they don't have a frontal lobe. Something like that. That's the saying, right? Or was it the cerebral cortex? I think there's something in an onion and an ogre. In their DNA.
I'm sure like you get a lot of those jokes like online or like by other people. You tell them like, oh, what game are you making? Oh, I'm making a game about an onion. It's called Layers Deep, and I'm sure like, oh yeah, like ogres. There's layers to that.
I don't get it as much as I thought I would.
Really?
I think a lot of people maybe. How old is Shrek now? Like 20 years since it released?
Don't say that.
I think it's become so cliche that like people forgot about it. Like it's hiding in plain sight. That's
too obvious. It's too easy of a joke.
Yeah, I have like some comments on my YouTube channel that are like, "Wait, I get it. Layers deep, like an onion." Like people felt like it was so clever that they had to comment that.
I love this. All right, well, we'll get to Layers Deep in a moment. But before that, can you tell us where did you grow up and how would you describe the musical background of your childhood?
Oh, man. I grew up, I was a military baby, so I grew up just traveling everywhere. So I lived in Maine for a little bit, California for a little bit. I lived in Japan for 9 years, New York for a little bit. And now, because of the animation industry, kind of moved to Georgia. I've been living in Georgia.
Wow, okay. And what kind of music were you hearing like all that time growing up?
The connection between like music and my game is huge, but like music and me personally, that's such a boring story. I feel like as a podcast, you want to like talk about media production and like these huge things.
We'll touch upon that, but like first I want to get to know who you are. You know.
I don't know. I guess I like a lot of indie rock, chill kind of music, I guess I could say. Like, I think when I lived in Japan, when I was like a little skateboarder, like that was when I got into the Strokes and like that whole scene of music, and that like that and skateboarding kind of shaped my musical taste. And then I started working in animation and then like listening to a lot of like theatrical music and stuff like that. And that's how I got into music like the Blasting Company that are now doing the songs for Layers Deep and
Which
stuff.
Is crazy, dude. Like, congratulations. Like, dude, that's huge. I'm just saying.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I figure as a music guy, you would know. You know Over the Garden Wall, and I'm sure like when you watch that show, you're like, okay, I hear the strings, I hear what other I hear the oboe, I hear the bassoon, I like all of these things.
Yeah, 100%, dude. But again, we'll get to that. Did you have any instruments in the household growing up?
I had like piano.
I
had like a lot of piano lessons, like strict piano lessons growing up. And then like because of the lessons when I was younger, I like hated it. And then I was in band in high school as well. And because high school and like the way our high school was with band, I also hated it.
Dude, yeah, man.
But yeah, now years later, downloading Fruity Loops, trying to remember my chords and stuff. I'm like, oh man, I wish I wasn't beaten over the head with a stick.
Right? Yeah, man. And I see a guitar behind you too. So you picked up the guitar?
Oh no, that's my girlfriend's.
Gotcha.
She's more of a music person than I am.
Got it. Like, you know it, but don't currently play.
Wait, what's up?
You know music, and she plays music.
Yeah, I listen to her music. She plays like bass and guitar.
Sick.
I'm just a music enjoyer.
Gotcha. Yeah.
We got the vinyl over there, all of our vinyls in
Oh,
that,
sick.
as well as the record player.
Yeah, I love that.
And that's where we listen to our Strokes albums.
Yeah, man, you're speaking to the choir or preaching to the choir about the hating high school band. I started as a air quotes musician with the saxophone, the alto sax, and this was like before high school or like early high school. And I tried out, or did I try out? No, I just signed up for like beginning band in high school, and man, it sucked. Mainly because like when I first learned how to play the sax, I was taught by like a musician that my stepfather, who's a audio engineer, audio producer, like knew, right? So he was teaching me, and he like the big lessons I got from him was like music is playing how you feel, right? It's a lot to do with emotion, and it's very artful. Like play how you're feeling, put your heart into your music. And I'm like, cool, I love this. Complete opposite in high school band. It's just like you can only play what is on the page. That's it, nothing else. If you're practicing, it's got to be, whatever sheet music you have in front of you. You can't like improv. You can't like, go up and down the sax however you want. No. It's strict, It's structured, and you can only do this. And I'm like, that's like the complete opposite of what music means to me, and I hate this. Like, come on, dude.
I mean, it makes sense because like in any discipline, you need to learn the boring stuff to like break the rules. But it's I don't know, maybe it's like how much passion can a high school teacher have? I mean, I guess I say that. My girlfriend's in the other room. Her dad's was a high school music professor, and
fun.
He's like one of the most prolific, inspirational ones like ever. So I mean, I say that, but I'm dead wrong while I say it.
Right. But I mean, like, yeah, I understand like when the class is going, you have to learn the fundamentals. You have to learn the basic. I get that. But also like when we're like free time or whatever, and between periods or lunch or whatever, you're telling me I can't like just riff, dude? Like, come on, just let me have some fun every once in a while. But whatever. Side tangent.
Yeah.
Did you have any video game consoles growing up? I'm sure you have.
Yeah, I started with the PlayStation 1,
Wow.
and then I went to the Nintendo 64, and then I think I stopped playing until like the Xbox 360, and then I stopped playing again for a while until like the PS4. But yeah, I was a gamer.
Yeah.
I was a gamer. Am still a gamer. Will always be a gamer.
Yeah, man. Gamer first, dude. Do you remember the first video game that you've played?
It was on PlayStation 1. It had to have been like Spyro, I think.
Yeah, man.
Or some like weird third-party game. And then eventually Spyro.
But Spyro was probably like big highlight then.
Yeah, Spyro and Crash Bandicoot, I think.
Do you remember the first band or musician that really got your attention when you were young? Or was that the Strokes?
I think probably Smash Mouth.
Smash
I think
Mouth.
Every millennial, every baby millennial's like they go see the Digimon movie, they hear Smash Mouth, and they're like, holy shit. I said I wouldn't cuss, and then here I am making you bleep. But
we're PG-13. Shit's fine.
yeah, I guess I went way back. Like if I was little, I don't know how old I was, but yeah, definitely Smash Mouth. Still to this day, hardcore Smash Mouth fan.
All thanks to Digimon. Hell yeah.
Bare naked ladies as well.
Bare naked ladies.
That's the next step, right? You have Smash Mouth, bare naked ladies, and then from there, what is it? It's either Hoobastank or like John Mayer.
John Mayer.
I'm just kidding. When I talk about my personal musical taste, I'm always like iffy about it because I'm like, I don't know if people are going to know the bands I like, and then I'm like, I can't say that. I sound like such a tool if I say that. But, like every weirdo that listens to indie rock, like I don't know, like I listen to like popular bands. What am I talking about? Do you know like Kurt Vile, Courtney Barnett?
Mm-hmm. I've heard those names.
The Brian Jonestown Massacre.
Yeah.
Those are like those are my jams. I think like that's where I went from Smash Mouth.
Gotcha. Yeah, man. You'd be surprised more often than not. Like a lot of the people I've had on the show, like they grew up with like indie rock and stuff. Like it's like some weird stuff, dude. You know, some screamo. You know, I recently had recently as of recording, It doesn't matter because time travel. I recently had the composer for Little Kitty Big City, among many, many other things, Riley Koenig, on the show. And Little Kitty Big City, if you're familiar, is like the
I am, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great game. Shout outs. The music is just very jazzy, lighthearted jazzy, but like he loves screamo music. So like that's one of his favorite genres, and just like that connection is just weird and
Dude,
hilarious.
I feel like I don't know if you've had the same experience, but like every metalhead I've ever met, or like people who listen to like the most intense music ever, or like the chillest people.
Yeah.
On top of it, for some reason, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's like complete contrast to their personality. That's the shit they listen to, and I'm like, okay, yeah, man, you do you. Like I'm cool with my Motown and my R&B and funk and soul, like I'm cool with that. Do you, man? Do you remember the first physical music you've owned that was yours?
Yeah, man. It was the Digimon soundtrack, and it had Smash Mouth, and it had the Bare Naked Ladies.
I really hope you're serious.
I'm actually being serious.
Yes.
I didn't want that to be the answer. Like, I wish I had said something else, but that was the first one. Like, I had my parents, after watching the movie, I was like, let's go to the music store and get this CD, put it in my Walkman. This is going to be my personality for a little bit.
Do you still have that by any chance?
No, man. I wish I did. I was living in Japan at the time, so that got lost in multiple moves, but I would definitely be slamming that if I still had a CD player, which I don't. It's funny. Like, I have a vinyl player, I have a record player, but a CD player is ancient to me. But yeah, I'll get a record player.
So I'm assuming you're a big Digimon fan.
No, dude. I only saw the movie. I never even watched the show, played the cards.
Wait, you're not a big Digimon fan, but you saw the movie? It's just
In fact, I don't know why, but this podcast is the most I've ever talked about Digimon.
Ever.
Yeah, you're bringing up some old memories.
Good. That's what we try to do here, man. I'm sorry, but I really want to know, did Digimon just like come out in theaters in Japan and your parents was like, oh, it's a cartoon, let's just take the kid to see the cartoon movie?
I don't remember. I think I really wanted to see it.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why. And you know what? I watched it like 2 or 3 years ago, and it still holds up.
Okay, but still
Highly
not
recommend.
a big Digimon fan.
No.
Interesting.
I don't know. I don't even understand the appeal.
I love this so much.
Why would you get into Digimon? Pokemon's like right there.
I was just about to say, yeah. So more Pokemon. Got it.
I don't know, like I had like back in the CD player days, like owning music, it was like that. It was like little kid stuff, and then like I got an MP3 player, and then it was just MP3 players from there on out,
Big
and
boy music.
until recently when I started collecting vinyl.
Yeah. What was the last record you got?
I can't remember. Like most of the records I have now are like gifts my girlfriend has been giving me because she's a big vinyl shopper and is always thinking of me. She recently got me an Ariel Pink record. Fan of his music, not a fan of like who he is outside of it.
Yeah.
Brian Jones, Town of Massacre, of course, a band that not a lot of people know of, but I won't shut up about. I think she's in the other room. I almost wanted to yell at her. Did we get a Jesus and Mary Chain album recently? Yeah. Jesus and Mary Chain. There we go.
Okay.
Do you know Jesus and Mary Chain?
No.
Oh man, they're great. If you watched Lost in Translation with Bill Murray, that there's a song in there, and it's a beautiful song, and it's by Jesus and Mary Chain. There you go.
Okay, now I have to rewatch that movie and look out for that. Okay, thank you.
My music taste is boring, man. You should.
It's not boring. What are you talking about?
Keep the Digimon stuff, but anytime I talk about a contemporary band, that's when the retention rate is going to go down the toilet.
Oh, please. Then you're going to hate this next question that requires a bit of context. I'm an audio engineer, producer at WGCU Public Media. It's a NPR PBS radio station in Southwest Florida. And we have this other show called 3 Song Stories, where we tell people's biography through music. The guest comes in and they pick 3 songs that every time they listen to these songs, they immediately get transported back to a time and place that they have a significant story associated with. I want to ask you, off the top of your head, do you have one song story you're willing to share?
Let's see. I would love to not bring up the Digimon soundtrack again, if possible. I say we just leave Smash Mouth, and we leave that back to Okay, do you know the band Hoobastank?
I've heard of that. It rings a bell.
Man, if I say bad things about bands, is that going to be bad for you're a professional, you're working in this industry. I don't want to tarnish your reputation.
Dude,
but
you can say whatever you want, man.
I remember when The Reason by Hoobastank came out and it played on the radio. I remember being so angry about it, like driving to school and hating it. And I was like, whoa, it was that awful song. And then it would come on the radio every single day. And now when that song plays in like a JCPenney or wherever, whatever department store that plays Hoobastank still, it just makes me angry. And it brings me back to middle school. A very boring and bad time in my life. So thank you, Hoobastank, for making me angry and raising my blood pressure, and probably taking a year or two off my life for The Reason, the worst song ever made.
So wait, I think this is the first more negative sided song story we've had on this show. Awesome. I love a first. Don't apologize, please. But I want to ask, like, what about it didn't you like?
I don't know what about it. I think it's just like really, like if you were to get like hit in the head by like a metal pipe, I feel like that's like the vibe the song kind of gives you, like your vision goes blurry and everything's like feels delayed and you're delirious. And you're like, where am I? Why am I in so much pain? I feel like that's The Reason by Hoobastank.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry, dude. This is amazing. I love every bit of this. You're a military kid. You moved around a lot. You had a PS1. What kind of shows were you watching growing up? Were you a Cartoon Network kid, Nickelodeon, Disney?
Oh yeah, totally, man. Oh, dude, that's a positive music thing I could have brought up. Like when I was living in Japan, and like Feel Good Inc. by the Gorillaz, that music video came out. That like blew me away. Like the animation, the music, everything about it. Ever since then, I started drawing, and that's what led me to like become an animator and work in the animation industry. There's something positive.
Hey, we did it.
Thank you. Now I'm not just like the angry Hoobastank guy. But yeah, Feel Good Inc. by the Gorillaz. I still got a Gorillaz poster right there.
Cool.
Yeah, that brings me back to the 2000s.
Love it, man. But back to shows, right?
Oh yeah, shows. I was a Cartoon Network guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what made me think
the right
of
answer.
It was like I was watching MTV.
Yeah.
And Cartoon Network and stuff, and yeah, grew up on cartoons, and then moved to the U.S. and then Flapjack and Adventure Time blew my mind. I was like, oh my god, this is so funny and cool. I didn't know that cartoons could be like that.
So the heyday, the golden age of Cartoon Network, I think we can all say it's the CN City era, right? We're going to go from CN City to more 2010s with Adventure Time and Flapjack. So favorite show to watch CN City era, which one was it for you?
CN City, what do you mean by the CN City era? Era? I'm not familiar with this term.
Yeah. So you know the bumpers like in between commercials, right?
Oh yeah.
CN City was like an era, like a maybe half a decade to a decade, in the 90s, early 2000s, where the bumpers were like all the Cartoon Network characters just lived in a city called CN City, Cartoon Network City, and it was just like,
I know what you mean.
Yeah, just them like being in random places in the city. Like
they would do like those skits in between episodes where where Ed and Eddie would interact with the Powerpuff Girls or whatever.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That was such a magical time.
I know.
Man, it's hard to pick a favorite because it's like during that era of Cartoon Network, you could just flip it on and there was something good.
Great, yes.
Like Dexter's Laboratory, Johnny Bravo, Powerpuff Girls, all were fantastic.
Samurai Jack.
That might be my favorite. Yeah. That was such a good one. I rewatched that whole series like last year, and that was such a blast, and it still holds up. And it's like paced slowly. It's like watching a slow movie, and you're like, man, the attention span kids used to have,
right?
Like it's so cool that like we trusted kids to pay attention and enjoy this. And what is it, Gennady Tarkovsky, I think that's his name. I'm probably butchering that, but yeah, he's still making shows today, and they're still amazing. He's a genius, and I'm thankful to live in the same time as him.
Yeah, man. No, I agree with you. The kind of shows that were coming out 2015 and back, right, for Cartoon Network, like they did take their time. They didn't treat their audience as like stupid and just gotta like mouth feed all the exposition and like whatever's actually going on or whatever. You know, it was like, watch this thing and like pay attention, and it's incredible. You know, Samurai Jack storytelling in that is fantastic. Ben 10, I think, did a great job. I mean, Ben 10 is like my favorite Cartoon Network show, period. But I think once we got closer to like the mid 2010s, like the teens, right, when we started getting the 15-minute shows like Gumball, regular show. Now those are great shows, but not too long after that we got, like, in my opinion, some flops like Uncle Grandpa, like Clarence, and it's just the quality just didn't hold up, right? And with these shorter shows, just like, they played back to back for a 30 minutes like block, but still, you know, it's very quick. It's very what's the term, over stimulating, right?
It is, yeah.
And we didn't really take our time with that. So Samurai Jack for way back then, and Adventure Time and The Misadventures of Flapjack, great shows, man. What stuck out about that for you?
I think both of them were pretty unique in that, like, they were both doing something that, like, not a lot of people have seen before.
Yeah.
Like, when I watched Flapjack, I was like, the show wasn't afraid to be like horrific and scary, and yeah, and it looked like tattoos that had come to life, and that was really unique. And I think Thor Van Orman, the creator, is just a genius. Like, he's like a comedy genius. Penn Ward as well with Adventure Time.
Yeah.
That was like unlike anything that anyone had ever seen as well. Just like a show that's like inspired by D&D.
Yeah.
That's episodic and isn't really interested in telling an interesting story, but just having fun characters be on screen for like 20 minutes. And I think that's once they canceled Flapjack, I think I was too angry to watch Cartoon Network. I stopped watching. I stopped watching around then. But looking back at it, like, you can kind of see why they canceled it.
Yeah.
Like, surprised it lasted 3 seasons.
Yeah, they never found Candy Island, sadly. But they did a lot in terms of pushing things for animation, period, I think. Adventure Time, I think mainly because of the humor, the type of humor it had. It really changed. I mean, it really changed how a lot of shows after that, like, also handled jokes and how the writing is for a lot of different shows, like the beats and stuff, you know, and just how wacky a lot of things are. I think a lot of that has to do because of Adventure Time, and the weirdness of Flapjack, the darkness, and but yet still lightheartedness, you know. And I'm sure like that also has to do with, or that has influenced a lot of people my age, you know, who grew up within the 2000s, how we're like just loving the weird shit, right? The weird gothic type of vibes, you know. And not too long after that, like around that time period, we got Over the Garden Wall, which is a major trip in itself for a very short series that only had the one season, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. And it only aired for what, a couple of years maybe?
No, it was a mini series.
It was a mini series.
10 episodes. Yeah.
And
that's it.
But there's such a big following for that, and like so many people that I know that are my age, you know, mid-20s, love that show. Why? Because of how freaky it is and how different it is. And you know, it's not in the sense of like this is a horror show. No. It's like, it's weird. There are horror stuff to it, and the vibes, very autumny, very fall. You know, this is something you'll watch alongside Gilmore Girls with if you want, right? But very different. Those two are very different in their own rights, but there's something weirdly cozy about it. And I'm pretty sure, and this is of course segueing into Layers Deep, all that to say is like how comforting a miniseries is that has nothing actually comforting about it. It's all weird and an existential, and it's just like one massive acid trip next to the other. I want to ask, when you first watched Over the Garden Wall, what was going through your mind in terms of an animator, in terms of someone who works in that business?
It was just really refreshing, like the whole time. Like you could tell like it was like traditionally animated, and all the backgrounds were hand painted.
Yeah.
I mean, all the backgrounds in every animated show is still hand painted, but
Right.
it was like it went back to that painterly style of like old Disney, and the whole time I was just like blown away that it met the high expectations I had for it, because I had been following it for a while. The lead art director, Nick Cross, is like one of my animation heroes, and I like watch all his films on YouTube, and so like I was just kind of like relieved and blown away that it was like as good as it was, and the storytelling was good.
Yeah.
In an era of like a time in Cartoon Network where like I just wasn't watching it as much.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know, is this going to lean into the same tropes that all these other animated shows are leaning into right now, or is it going to stand out? And it did. And I think that's another reason why it has such a lasting impression on people, is because it wasn't afraid to bring those horror elements into a kid's show.
Right.
And kind of filled the void of like a November holiday, like a show movie that you could watch, because there's no Thanksgiving time movies really.
Yeah, that's so true. And I think a lot of that has to do with, you know, the colors, right? It's a lot of warm colors, and that's how that comforting feeling, like that's where it comes from, in my opinion. You know, I'm not an artist, I'm not an animator, and this is just like as a watcher, I feel like that might be the reason. And maybe you can shine some more light on that.
No, totally. Yeah. No, I agree. I think that's totally it.
Gotcha.
Like the fall vibes, like who doesn't love that?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And not only that, but the actual settings, right? We get a lot of, what's the term? I don't want to say, I know how it feels. It's like that Dark Souls born horrorness, right? What's it called? Is it
like a Gothic Victorian?
Gothic Victorian, yeah, I think Victorian, that was the word. There's a lot of those vibes, of course, in that, but mixed with the settings of like a southern area. There's crops, there's that pumpkin head episode, like that I think is the episode to watch with this show to really showcase like what it is about. You know what I mean? Because that episode is freaky as hell, but it has like everything that makes this show special in that. Like it's a good all-rounded episode with the music, with the settings, with the colors, with the actual story and how that's being told, and it's a good like little vignette, you know, self-contained almost. So yeah, man.
Yeah, I think episode 2 is a really good. Like the first episode, I think everyone watches it and they're like, okay.
Yeah.
And then if they go to episode 2, that's usually the one that wins them over, because that's when they kind of show their weird hand of like, okay, this is not going to be the show you were expecting it to be.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
I love that. I love that about it.
Yeah. So you already mentioned that the way you started becoming an animator, getting into that business was has a lot to do with Flapjack and the Gorillas, right? Which
totally.
I do, of course, want to touch upon your 2D studio animator stuff. You know, you were part of a lot of projects that you've worked on: Adult Swim, Netflix, HBO. Would you mind sharing just a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, it was really cool. Being a studio animator was really fun. Just waking up, going to the studio every day, and working on a show that was either funny or just working with people I really liked, learning from directors and stuff. I really missed that whole vibe, especially like pre-COVID. Like I got my first like studio gig proper right when COVID hit. So like I moved down here and I would go into the office and there'd be like 5 people and then everyone else would be on Zoom.
Right.
So I kind of missed out on that like fun office vibe beforehand, but it was still nice to have that camaraderie, especially as someone who'd been in like in freelance like the whole time, and to be a part of a team. And then when a show would come out, like Koala Man, for example, we would try to get everyone to watch it and be like, no one's talking about the show. Why isn't that happening?
Yeah.
Like we put so much work into it. We loved it. And, And then to be able to say like I worked on like a Aqua Teen Hunger Force movie, like all of that stuff is like a good childhood boxes to tick off.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful I got to have that time. And then, you know, the animation industry kind of stopped making animation, at least right now. I don't know. It's like in limbo, but
Yeah.
it feels like a flash in the pan kind of moment that I'm just really grateful I got to experience before Hollywood thought AI was just going to make everything from now on.
God. So can you flesh out a little bit more that transition from Flapjack and the Gorillas? Were you already like into drawing and stuff before that?
I'd always been kind of into it, but I never thought like you could do it as a job.
Gotcha.
Like up until my second year in college, I didn't know I was going to be an animator. Like I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then like I started seeing people posting like flash animations on Newgrounds and stuff, and I thought I'd get in on that fun, and that like led to me meeting a bunch of people at the Newgrounds office and then making those connections and then like wanting to be like all of them and then like really studying animation. And yeah, that's what kind of led me down that rabbit hole.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then, so as a 2D studio animator, how did you get into game development? This is where we start talking about layers deep.
Layers deep. I was like while working at the studio, I would just like watch YouTube videos of like devlogs that people were making to like pass the time while I'm like animating a character or slap somebody or something. So
Right.
like just the downtimes at work, and I was always like, this would be cool to try. And then like I got Unity because it's free. Barrier to entry is like nothing now. Like anyone can try it. So I picked up Unity and I started playing around with making Metroidvanias.
Yeah.
And then like animation, I got hooked to it and then made it my whole life and personality. So just like the Digimon movie, animation, and this were the three things. Those were the three pillars.
Why a Metroidvania?
I just think it's like really, it's perfect for the kind of developer I am, because like the hardest thing to do, like I'm not a software engineer, so like I wanted to make something to where like I could learn how to code it and not need to go down another 5-year rabbit hole.
Right.
And like a Metroidvania is like a content based game. Like there's a lot of system based games like roguelikes where it's like the gameplay is like stacking buffs and building up all these things, and it's like very system heavy, and coders love making those games. And then there's games that are just content heavy, like story driven, like RPGs.
Right.
And Metroidvanias kind of fall in that sweet spot. And I figured I could make a whole world. Like I paint backgrounds for TV shows, like I could paint them for video games. And let's just make a game where you're just running through smacking bushes and little creatures. That sounds like I could do that.
Right.
And yeah, it's famous last words. It is way harder than I thought it was going to be.
Right, of course. I have nothing but respect for game devs, especially indie game devs. We've just recently, as in the past year, 2024, our 5th year as a show, you know, we started having indie devs on as guests and really get to like dive into not only development, but like who they are in their games, right? You know, we've had Matt Wood from Little Kitty. We've had Chris from Bo, right? We've had Pedro Guerra from Elsie, and many, many more.
Right on.
And you, of course, with Layers Deep, just so I can tell the audience, Layers Deep, if you guys don't know, I hope you guys know because you clicked on this episode, but it is a Metroidvania where you explore a non-linear Southern Gothic inspired world where you find upgrades and use them to expand your combat and exploration capabilities, and you can get lost in a dense, atmospheric, and dangerous map full of enemies and interesting characters. It is the epitome, like the entire vibe of this game is exactly what Over the Garden Wall is. It's the same thing it exudes, and not only visually can you see that, but you have, as we mentioned earlier in this episode, you have the composers of Over the Garden Wall making the music for your game. Like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, so lucky that they were so cool and willing to help us out and jump on the project.
Yeah.
Yeah, the blasting company's rad. The music they've been making is amazing. They're super easy and chill to work with. And I think if the game sucks, at least the music will be rad. And that's a guarantee.
Oh, man. I really want to know, you can make any kind of Metroidvanias, right? Any kind of looking style-wise for a video game for a Metroidvania. Why the direction you chose? First of all, I love hand-drawn games, and it's one of like the biggest selling points any game can make for me to be like, I'm in this. And for Layers Deep,
that's good to know.
I'm in this deeply, right? But you could choose anything, and I just want to know, like, why Over the Garden Wall specifically? Like, why choose that vibe?
I don't think it was like intentionally. Well, I guess it kind of was, but it was like we just wanted to lean into like a style we could do, like what we were good at and what we liked, and also what was different from everything on the market. I'm a big Bloodborne fan, so like the first Metroidvania I started making was like a Bloodborne looking kind of Metroidvania.
Right.
Looking back on it now, you look at that game and you're like, this looks like every, dungeon, Metroidvania, Souls-like that you've ever seen.
Hollow Knight.
Well, I mean, and that's like a big thing. You don't want to recreate Hollow Knight because Hollow Knight already exists and it's amazing, and nobody wants another Hollow Knight. They want Silksong. Like when I teamed up with my software engineer, Eric, he was like, let's redo what you have and let's do something that's actually going to stand out.
Right.
And we like spent a week just drawing and brainstorming. And then we came up with like a fall setting and an onion, and we were like, what's a fall setting over the garden wall? We should look at how they do their art and see if we could bring some of that magic. And then accidentally, some people said our game looked like Cuphead a little bit, so I guess a little bit of Cuphead snuck its way in there.
maybe because of the hand-drawn-ness,
Yeah, hand-drawn, high frames.
But like also, your game does look like a cartoon. So I'm sure there's those layers in that, right? Because Cuphead is an old school like Disney cartoon, which is phenomenal. I think the direction you guys chose is a great direction. Like you said earlier, like there isn't a lot of already autumn themey stuff, like regardless of Thanksgiving as a whole, right? But in terms of video games, there's a lot of cozy games, sure, but does that scream like fall, like October and November? No, I think Layers Deep is filling this void now that crosses in between like October 31st all the way to Thanksgiving. Like this is what Layers Deep is kind of encapsulating in a way, I think. And it's really smart to go in the way of vegetables because, fall, autumn, harvest, crops, like it all makes sense. There's a lot of layers to that, man.
Use either vegetables or ogres. Those were our choices.
Yeah, right. If you guys have, I'm not telling you guys what to do, but if you guys have an ogre like boss or character within this game, that would be hilarious. I'm just saying.
We probably should. We'll make him Scottish for no reason as well.
Anyways, all that to say, or all that leading to, you have described your game as hauntingly cozy, right? Which is an intriguing way to describe anything because that that's like one end of the spectrum and the other. How do you balance these opposing themes within this game, especially as the artist of it, because you have to bring in a lot out of what you're drawing to get these themes across?
I think when we started making the game, like we were all working animation jobs essentially, or like, my engineer is still working his engineering job, Eric. Right. But like we were like, we just want to make like a cabin in the woods, like an escape, like a project we can work on that is like a cozy, fun space for us. And so the game kind of took that vibe on naturally. And then the creepiness is also like we said earlier, I'm like really inspired by Flapjack. So like the art I like to draw is just naturally creepy. So it's just like it's creepy of natural causes. I think that's just, if there's like a divine creator out there, it's his fault, and we should blame We should blame it or him or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just kind of happened that way on accident and purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just a bunch of happy little accidents.
A bunch of happy little accidents.
Thanks, Bob.
Exactly. Classic Bob.
Classic Bob. What also helps really drive that connection to Over the Garden Wall is the pumpkin characters, the pumpkin enemies. Like we mentioned episode 2 of Over the Garden Wall already. And when I saw like in the trailer that one pumpkin head boss, I'm like, yo, this is like exactly what they're trying to do. This is exactly like from Over the Garden Wall. And like as a fan of that type of stuff, as a fan of hand-drawn animation, hand-drawn games, as a fan of classic Cartoon Network shows, and as a fan of Metroidvanias, this is checking off a lot of boxes, and I'm really happy and stoked for this. And yeah, you guys are doing great. Why an onion?
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. But why an onion?
Man, I think we just drew it, and like it just made us laugh, and we were like, we have to do it. Like like any decision in our game, we just come up with whatever's ridiculous, and then we're like, well, now we have to do it because we're all laughing too hard at the idea of it. I think we also want to like not lean too hard in the pumpkins. Like the first biome in the game, there's a lot of pumpkins in it, and I don't know if the game's like 15 hours. 15 hours of pumpkins is going to be a little too much. Like if you've had like 3 slices of pumpkin pie, you know what I'm talking about. But yes, we have a bunch of other biomes we're working on as well to hopefully branch out into other southern themes and to stand out a little bit more. Right.
Yeah. And I want to talk about that real quick. But before that, does the protagonist have a name at this moment?
Not right now. Okay. We're just calling him like Onion. The NPCs will call them Sprout or like Little Sprout.
That's cute. I'm from Miami, so I'm Hispanic. The Spanish word for onion is cebolla, and the boy sounding part of that word, I was trying to think of like a funny term of like, something boy, like ceboy. You know what I mean? Like it's
cebolla. I like that.
There's something there that you can make it punny, like you can make a bit out of that adds layers to the name. But I haven't
have like a biome that's like Florida or something. Everyone there will call them cebolla or something. That'd be fun.
Ah, that's cool.
That's a really fun sounding word. I want to write that down. We're gonna hold on to that one.
Yeah, no problem. But yeah, speaking of it all being in the South, you are in Georgia, and you mentioned this in your interview with Chris on the Squid Shocks podcast about the Southern themes and where does like this take place, and we're thinking like Louisiana, kind of, right? Like that kind of vibe, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and I'm assuming the reason for that is because it makes more sense. It's very fall, autumny type of place, where do a lot of vegetables. When you think of vegetables, what kind of place do you think of? Yeah, most likely the South of America.
Yeah, totally. I also think it's like really underutilized. Like if you played Red Dead 2, like that whole section in the South, you're like, wow, this is like a beautiful location. And it's not in a lot of media for some reason. Yeah. I mean, it's in like The Walking Dead, but more so as like they just shot it in Atlanta. So therefore it takes place in Atlanta. But yeah, I think there's a lot of cool like stories you can tell with the Southern setting.
Yeah, and of course that helps with the music because when I think of this type of vibe, I'm thinking of like Princess and the Frog. I'm thinking of New Orleans jazz and stuff, and of course that shows in the music. There's that. I know there's like a bayou section within the game, So like I'm really happy to see this type of stuff as someone who is interested. There's that fish NPC like on the boat, in a bayou place that I assume is like it's yeah, man, it's going great. Can you share some of the challenges you face while developing this game?
Oh man,
where to start?
Been nothing but, let me tell you. I mean, something I've learned making a commercial game, like my engineers made a commercial game before. This is my first commercial game. It's like, it feels like we're always developing to show the game at the next thing. Like we're developing for a Kickstarter launch and a Kickstarter trailer. Now we're developing for a demo to get play tested, and then we're going to develop for a showcase. And it feels like I don't know, you can never like sit down and breathe and just make the game. It always has to like, you always have to like be making it and then stop and then go back and polish and then add all these features to like get it shown. And that takes so much time off of development. And that has been a struggle, especially like as an indie,
Yeah.
like always thinking about marketing as well as making a video game. So it's like half of my day I'm like working on the game, and then the other half I'm like video editing and taking screenshots and doing social media posts and yelling and getting yelled at by the IRS, trying to figure out how to do taxes as a business.
Right.
So yeah, it's a lot of stuff that like I don't think you should know getting into indie game development, because it could scare you away. It's like one of those things where you just kind of have to jump in the deep end and then realize you're freezing, and then just try not to freeze to death. That's what it's like.
Right. Then on the flip side, what has been some of the most rewarding parts from making this game, transitioning from working on large scale productions to creating Layers Deep?
It's been really cool to like have creative control over something, and you know, like to have been working for companies and to be told like what shows I'm going to be working on, and like what jokes are going to be in things, and how it's going to be animated, and et cetera, et cetera. It's cool to just be like, okay, no, like I get to make this thing, and it gets to be my vision, and it gets to be uncompromised. Like we had this moment earlier where like we were talking about, we have this character that's like a blockhead, and he has a different face on each.
Like a die face.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we were talking about like whenever he wants to change expressions, he has to switch to a different face.
Of course.
And we were talking about the challenges of animating that. And we were like, we could just do like a motion blur and then have it stop on a random face to make it easy. And then both me and Eric were like, but we're not going to, because we don't want to. Like, we want to do this for real.
Yeah.
And we want to see every face as it turns. And that was like a fun moment of realization of like, this is our game and we're making it how we want to make it. And that is a good feeling. I forgot what the question was during my rant, but
no, please. It's just rewarding parts of making this game.
Oh yeah, being able to animate more frames.
Yeah,
being able to animate as much as I want.
Yeah, and
the creative bits, of course, I think are the best parts.
And this being a hand-drawn game, then you have so much to do, and so it's like I know there's a whole lot of work to do, like with background, foreground, the actual characters themselves, and animating that. So it's a lot to take on, and you guys are just a two-person studio, if I'm right.
Yeah, essentially two-person. Alana Pierce is now like a third member, essentially helping us write and doing narrative development.
Gotcha.
As well. But yeah, we're a small skeleton crew.
Yeah.
Tiny team.
Yeah, but like already from what has been shown, the quality in this is phenomenal. You know,
I appreciate it.
One thing that I always love and appreciate that I don't think gets talked about enough when talking about video games is seeing how much work the people making these games are putting in, and that contributing to the quality of it, right? I'm going to use Bo as an example because I freaking love that game. And we've had not only Chris, but we've had Moy, the composer. We've had one of the other artists, Alex. That game has so much to it. It's only like a 6-8 hour game maximum, right? But there is so much love and care like in that game on every single aspect, right? The gameplay, the mechanics, the visuals, the music, right? They got freaking Minami Kyoto as a guest composer who's done Xenoblade and stuff. Like that's crazy. That is insane so cool for an indie game. And it shows how much love and cares was in this game. And to turn it to Layers Deep, to talk about what you guys are doing. Currently, as of recording, there is no current playable version that I've gotten my hands on. But even just from the videos and the screenshots that I've seen, like on Steam, on Kickstarter and all that stuff, I can tell that you guys are really trying your best. Like, this is a labor of love. You know, I can tell that you guys are really trying to crank as much quality out of this game as possible, you know, from what you guys can manage. There's already like the the animation, the fluidity of how the NPCs move. Like, I really like that frog guy. He's only done like one motion, but like I like his vibe. You know, I like that frog guy's vibe.
That.
And the lighting is spectacular. I like how already there's like some areas from within the trailer that like there's some very dark but still vibrant areas. There's some like gloomy areas, and just like it looks really, really solid and really tight. And that's just from looking at the trailers and looking at the screenshots. So all this ranting, all this to say that you guys are clearly on the right path of making something truly remarkable within, struggle to say this, but oversaturated genre of Metroidvanias.
It is oversaturated, totally.
Everybody loves, not everybody. Metroidvanias are popular for a reason, right?
Yeah.
That's why we have the Hollow Knights. That's why we have Bow. That's why we have, I can't think of any other Metroidvanias right now, but that's why we have so many. Void Rot, right?
Yeah.
But it's these certain games like Layers Deep, like Bow, that shines a different aspect within this genre that really lets it stand apart from the crowd, right? Over the Garden Wall meets Hollow Knight. That's what Layer Deep is. Southern, very autumny, like we've been talking about, type of vibes. It's a new type of way to look at this, and there's something special here. And I'm really excited for this game to come out, and for all the listeners here, you know, and for the world to see like what you guys are putting out. Rant's over.
That was very kind. That was like extremely kind, especially like being talked about in the same sentence as Bo. That's very good company to keep. Big fans of their work.
Yeah, man.
And if you thought the screenshots were cool, just wait until you see how it looks now, because we tore all that down and rebuilt all of it and reanimated everything. Yeah. So it looks completely different in a good way. And yeah, dude, that's very kind. You are a very kind host. I appreciate that.
No problem, man. And again, I'm not just saying this to like, you know, I'm not just saying this for fluff or whatever. And I'm not just saying this because you're just on the show and just being nice. No. I really mean this. If I didn't mean this, I wouldn't be saying this. If I didn't care about this game, I wouldn't have you on the show. You know, I'm being serious.
Well, still. Still, I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you and your hard work. And I just want, as a fan, as a future player, I can tell the hard work and dedication you guys are putting into this game. So keep it up.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, man.
Can do, will do.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get into the speed round where I'm going to ask you a bunch of silly random questions and we're going to see how you do. Are you ready?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. If you were the final boss in a video game, what would your title be?
The Sleepy Man.
The Sleepy Man. Okay. Yeah. Now, if there's a boss in your game called the Sleepy something, I know where you got that.
The self-insert. There you go.
so silly. What would your boss theme music be? And you can choose any song from anywhere.
It would be The Reason by Ubastank. And every time you hit me, it would slow it down another octave until it's just drowning you out.
So funny. If you were a superhero, what would your name be? And follow up, what powers would you have?
Oh my goodness. This question is harder. It's deceptively difficult. I would have the superpower of I could eat as much as I want and never go over a calorie deficit.
Oh my God, that's so good.
There we go.
Somebody said that before, and it's such an intriguing answer. I wish I can remember who said that. But be proud to know that you're not
a fellow genius.
Yeah, you're like one of the only two people that have said that answer before, and that's awesome and weird and cool at the same time. So hell yeah. What would your superhero name be? We got your powers. What would the name be?
The name, the Sandwich Eater.
The Sandwich.
The Sandwich Enjoyer.
And it doesn't always have to be a sandwich. You're not like always. Yeah, no, I get it. If you can live in the world of your favorite childhood show, movie, or video game, which one would it be and why?
Oh, that's also deceptively tough. Man, I used to think about this all the time. Like, I'd be playing Minecraft, and I'm like, what if I just lived in this world? Like,
I think it would suck. personally.
How many blocks could I punch until I just wanted to end it all? I'd probably live in the land of Ooh, Adventure Time.
It's so good.
It's a beautiful place.
Yeah, man.
Right?
Yeah. Well, depending on where you live, yes. Like where exactly? Yeah, no, I get it. Right off the Candy Kingdom, I think that might be like pristine, like the prime place.
Yeah, Candy Kingdom adjacent.
Yeah. If you could attend any fictional event, for example, the Ewok celebration in Star Wars Episode 6, which one would it be and why?
Oh, man. These are deceptively hard. This is the hardest, the hardest one ever. Have you ever played Cyberpunk 2077?
Yeah.
They have that epic parade scene.
Uh-huh.
I would do that. I would go there, and I would smoke a cigarette and stand on the balcony and just watch all the floats go by.
Okay, sounds like a great time.
Yeah. Probably not a great answer, but it was an answer.
It's like every answer you give is the right and perfect answer, man. Don't even worry about it.
Thank you.
What would your 14-year-old self think of who you are today?
You call me a goober, probably. I don't know. I was like a little skateboarder punk kid that wanted to do skateboarding professionally in some capacity. So he'd probably see me as some sort of sellout. No, I'm partly kidding. I'm sure he'd be like, "You worked on Aqua Teen Hunger Force. That's pretty cool."
Yeah,
I watched that.
Yeah.
So probably nice things.
Okay. Well, it is now time for you to recommend 3 people that you'll share this episode with whenever it comes out, that you think they'll be a good guest on the show if you think they'll say yes, and that you can help me get them on the show.
I think since you like music so much, maybe I could recommend The Blasting Company.
Dude.
That'd be a great one.
Yeah.
They're pretty fun to talk to. They're pretty fun guys. I don't know if you talked to Bossy before. He's the developer behind Lone Fungus. Metroidvania.
I'm glad you brought that up. I recently pledged on the Kickstarter like a couple of days ago, and I sent an invitation today to him. So yeah, if you can help out, please.
Yeah, I will definitely. I know he's Swedish. I'm not sure what his English is like.
That's fine. That's fine, man.
And then I would say maybe another rad person that I would like to hear you speak to is Brute Force, the developer of Crumble and Paper Sky.
Okay.
And then I'll throw a fourth one out there. I think the developer of Pipsqueak, another fellow Kickstarter Metroidvania that blew mine out of the water.
Cool.
I would love to hear them on this podcast as well.
All right. Well, let's see what we can do to get them on the show. I am very excited to talk to each and every one of them. Let's get it going. Yeah, man. Do you have any final thoughts?
This is a fun podcast. You're very kind. Jared, thank you so much for having me on. It's been a blast.
Yeah, man. Thank you for saying that. I really appreciate it. Yeah, man. I try to have as much fun here as possible. You know, that's what we try to do. That's what we try to bring out to the world. You know, like we're a couple of people, you know, we're a couple of guys just talking about our favorite video games, shows, pop culture stuff, as well as, you know, talking about
the vibes are on. They are on.
Exactly. Yeah, man. That's exactly what we try to do here. So thank you for appreciating that, and I appreciate you. So thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
All right, that's all the time we have for today, guys. If you want to hear more from Josh, be sure to follow him and his game Layers Deep on their socials, and don't forget to wishlist Layers Deep on Steam. Links to everything will be in the description down below. Be sure to let us know what you think about this episode somewhere on the internet, and be sure to follow us on our socials and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Be sure to rate us 5 stars and leave a comment down below. We'll catch you on the next one.